nice chunk.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. This is the week of July 18th and it's the weekly fishing report, obviously. Got the grandkids this week, so got the sun coming up, got some boats going to be running around out here, so we're going to get you all the information you need. Then we're going to cut out and I'm going to get back to making pancakes. And I'll tell you, for you guys that don't have grandkids, when you get them, believe me, about 2 to 4 hours of watching grandkids is equal to about 8 hours of chucking around a 12-ounce swim bait. So haven't got a lot of sleep the last few days, haven't been out a whole lot, but I have gotten out a little bit before they got here. So we'll give you some information on that and we'll get into what we need to get into, get it all taken care of. First line of business, I want to talk a little bit about one of the high school tournaments coming up, or actually it's the youth tournament coming up. It's the TNT, which is the BBT youth organization. And I talked to Cam Cardoza. They need a couple of boaters for the tournament Sunday, the 21st, out at Russo's. So if you happen to be around and you've been a captain before, you want to be a captain for a couple of high school kids in the tournament, call Cam at 209-502-0258. He'd appreciate it. They need a couple boats for next Sunday, and that's the 21st. All right, let's get right into the weekly drawing. We had a couple more winners last week. The fourth week, Christopher Walker, he won the bait chucking prize, and Ian won the CNC baits. I actually threw in a couple of, what do I have out here? How's it going, guys? Get a big one today. Like I said, we're going to have a few boats coming in and out, but no big deal. All right, let's get back to the report now. Week 4 winners: Christopher Walker, he won the bait chucking prize, and Tom Eamon, I think that's how he pronounced his name, won the prize from CNC Baits. And let me go over once again, I want to hit everybody up that's been helping me out with some of these prizes. Bait chucking, obviously, Michael over at Bait Chucking had a beautiful bait package for Christopher. You're gonna really like this bait package when you get it, Christopher. Some of the best plastic baits here in the Delta. Adrian over at CNC Baits, he supports everyone. He's been supporting the channel. I want you guys to check out CNC Baits if you haven't already checked them. Ram Baits, Bob over at Ram Baits, some of the best still handmade one at a time custom rats. We've got obviously Rob out at the Bass Hole. We've got Sal over at Delta Glides. I might be giving away some of these striper baits on some upcoming striper videos. Who else? Oh, I can't forget Marlon out at Crappie Closets. He gave me a beautiful package of baits along with a nice, I'll call it a, we'll call it a bank purse. We'll be giving that away in a couple of weeks. I've got a couple of guys come on Kenny Vang and Randy Graham, a couple of really good bank anglers out here. We're going to do a video on bank angling. A lot of talk about panfish, and I want to give that package away to somebody that watches that particular video, because we, like I said, we want to get these baits in the hands of people that are going to use them. One of the things another group of guys, Delta Basics Lure Company, and they've donated some really nice custom-made both spinner baits and buzz baits, and they have a price point of $6. So for budget-minded anglers, you guys want to make sure you check out Delta Basics. I'm going to try to put this SKU up here. I'm told that if you hit that SKU, you'll be able to get that information. They are all over the internet. You'll find them on Instagram, and they will have a website up soon. So that's some of the folks that have been supporting me. Let's talk about week 5. We have a $50 gift certificate from Rob out at the Bass Hole, and the winner for that is Michael Anthony, 209. Michael Anthony, make sure you hit me up at S. Cooper, SCOOPER, 956-1032 at gmail.com, and we'll get you that, or we'll let you know how you can pick up that gift certificate over at the Bass Hole. And we had another package of CNC baits, and I threw in a couple of these Delta Basics so you guys can try these. And that winner is Paul Feber, F-E-R-B-E-R. So Paul, same thing, hit me up at my Gmail, and we'll get you these CNC baits and the Delta Basics, that lure package. Now next week we're going to give away another half-day trip and probably another package of CNC baits. So we will announce a couple of winners next week. And all right, let's talk about the what's going on here on the river. Stripers have been, I'm not going to say non-existent. If you want stripers, you probably want to stick out to the Sacramento area, maybe the Liberty. They're still getting a few fish out here. Not a whole lot going on in the Delta, not a lot of interest, so we're bypassing the stripers. The bass, they've been pretty darn good, and one of the things that you'll find if you haven't been out in a week or two, there's still a lot of rats out there, but the difference in, I'll say, this week and the past 2 or 3 weeks, the bigger females are starting to come out of post-spawn, and they're really picking up some big fish out here. Let me go over the BBT results real quick that were held out here Saturday and Sunday. They fished for 2 days, 2 separate tournaments. I know a lot of the guys fished both tournaments, but they weren't, the weights for Saturday were 1 for Saturday. The weights that came in Sunday, 1 for Sunday. So it was run as 2 separate tournaments. Let's see, first place for July 13th was Mark Mendenhall and Greg Woods. They had 1848 with a big fish of 612. They had 66 boats on Saturday. Great. Now, middle of the pack was right around 11 pounds. That's a very so-so tournament. Come Sunday, a lot of the same guys fishing. They only had about 48 boats, and this was Sunday. Mark Howard and Curtis Howard, Mark and Curtis Howard won the tournament with 35.6 pounds with a big fish of 10 pounds, 10.06. That's a pretty good bag out here, biggest bag I've seen all year, and I believe they've had actually 2 double-digit fish in that bag. Now here's the catch. Saturday, 66 boats, 18 pounds won, middle of the pack, right around 33, 35, whatever it is, about 11 pounds. Sunday, 35 pounds won, couple of double digits, right around the middle of the pack, about 24, still 11 pounds. Everybody's kind of, hit that 10 to 12 pound 5-fish limit that the Delta's producing for pretty much everyone. And after that, if you get a big fish, that's what's going to put you up in, maybe not in the winner's circle, but it's going to get you a trophy and probably cash you a check. Now, I talked to Cam, and I don't know if Cam, he either got 5th or 7th on Sunday. I think he had 17 pounds. And he was helping the guys that had that big bag, help them carry their fish. So good sportsmanship for Cam. I probably would have pushed him in the water if I saw that. But anyhow, I believe there were 2 10-pound fish. And I know that out of their 5-fish limit, 3 of their 5 fish came on buzz baits. So buzz baits were produced, and I think at least one of the big double digits came on a buzz bait. So buzz baits are producing big fish, topwater baits are producing big fish. Had another 11.5 pounder that Rob sent me a picture of, one of Rob's friends. I forgot to get this guy's name, but congratulations, 11.5 pound fish. I didn't ask if I could spread what he caught it on, but I'll just say it was on a very small topwater bait, a popper style bait, 11.5 pound fish. I've got some nice fish. Let me put a picture of myself up there. I got this particular fish on a bubble walker, another very small bait. Didn't get a chance to weigh it, but I think that fish was somewhere between 7 and 8 pounds. A lot of big post-spawn females coming into the docks. And like I said, the difference that you'll find fishing this next week or two, I believe, a lot of you guys that are frustrated with getting 50 and 60 fish days out here and not one fish over 2 pounds, you're going to find that you're going to go out and your chances of getting that 1 or 2 really big fish are substantially better. It doesn't matter what you're throwing. A lot of guys are catching big fish on frogs. The punch bite is starting to happen, but worms, plastic worms, are still doing great. I'm catching them on toads. Chatterbaits are catching fish. It's still kind of a junk fishery, so you can catch a big fish on anything out there. The one area that I would suggest staying around are island flats, especially when you have these islands that on one side you have kind of that drop off and maybe some really clean vegetation. Those are always good spots, but the bigger fish have seemed to have moved around these islands, and especially if there's a little half moon somewhere on that island where you have a flat that comes out for 30, 40, maybe 50 feet and then drops off a little bit. At high tide, those fish, a lot of big fish, seem to be coming up out of the deeper water and just feeding on those flats. Most of the guys that are catching the fish on the flats are catching them at higher tides when you have at least 2 or 3 feet of water over the flat. And that's probably why a lot of guys are picking up the bigger fish on top waters, or maybe baits that can cut through some pretty heavy vegetation. So think about that when you're checking out the areas that you're moving around to. And also, for me, I've been moving around a lot, and it doesn't seem to me that the fish are congregated in any one area. The fish have been congregated very close to each other, meaning that when you're fishing, you're going to find that I think Cam said he got his limit of fish in like 7 or 8 minutes in one spot. You will find these little areas that are holding pods of fish that you're going to catch, but where those areas are, you just have to fish them, and they're all over. You can catch them on an island point, you can catch them on a flat, you can catch them in a trough. There's no one place that really has been producing better than the other place, and really, unless you're fishing early and late, you definitely want to fish some topwater poppers, bubble walkers. Walking baits have been doing very well. A lot of guys have been talking about walking baits. The Chopo or Whopper Plopper have been doing well, and the one color that a lot of people are talking about is their standard bone color. Take that into consideration. Worms, green pumpkin, black and blue are also catching fish. That's no surprise there. But all in all, you just got to get out there and move around. And I guess my suggestion for the week would be, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone and fish some different areas. The fish are all over, and I have been finding that as I fish a bank and maybe I blank out on that bank, I just kind of turn around, I look around, and if I see something a little different, maybe I'm fishing tules and I got a rock bank behind me, I'll go fish that rock bank. 5 minutes, maybe 50 yards. You don't have to spend a lot of time in this new water, but a lot of times you'll find, I don't know how many times I've moved from one area that I thought was my number one area, and I just went across to try something different, and within 2 or 3 casts I pick up a fish. And that's happened time and time again for me, and I know if you guys do that, it'll happen for you. So with that, like I said, I'm going to be getting back to the grandkids, and I'll probably be making pancakes in about 15 minutes, dreaming about what you guys are catching. Make sure you send in the reports. I will be back on the water after this weekend. Until then, like I said, I've got a little family things that I'm doing. We're having a great time, but I need your reports for this next week to help me out with next week's report. So with that, I'll let you guys get out there and go fishing, and I'll get back home, and good luck. See you guys on the river.